Hey folks, welcome back to Cafe Chronicles. I'm Dan, and on this episode of the KZ750, as we get everything closer to ride, we have to sort out the front end. We're going to clean up the front mud guard, maybe put some oil in the front shocks, and get a little bit closer to the road. So let's get stuck in. Slippery. Extra budget. The problem with shiny things is that they're never shiny enough. Wonder if I might have been a magpie in a previous life. So the manual states, and you should probably follow the manual, to use a hand pump, because if you put too much pressure in, you could quickly blow the seals. And if you use a compressed air system, that maximum PSI comes up real quick. But let me show you a trick that we're hoping will work in our favor, but I can't recommend for you to do at home. So on this air compressor, you'll see 2 dials. The first dial here is the pressure inside the tank. Now I've stopped it just over 50 PSI. That'll blow up the forks real quick, but I have a control for how much pressure is getting into the airline, and I've clipped this at about between 15 and 20 PSI. So 36 is the safe limit for our forks. We're aiming for about 12, but having this low pressure inside the line will make sure that we won't blow it up. It'll also control the slow airflow through the line, so we should be able to have that fine adjustment tuning that we need to get spot on to 12. My genius plan, my automotive air fitting tool thingy, the neck on it is actually too long, so to fit over these stubby little things here, I'm not actually getting enough engagement to use the tool, so we cannot use what I thought we could use to fill this bad boy up with air. Time for plan B. A lot of air comes out when you check the pressure inside the fork. So if you do that before every ride, you have to top it off because as you press the gauge in, air escapes into the meter. So you kind of only have one shot, and then if you check it again, the pressure's going to drop. So instead of going through that whole procedure every time we ride, which you probably kind of should, but just for some peace of mind, I'm going to put some dish soap in this spray bottle with water, of course, and I'm going to spray it in and around all the seals and openings of the forks. And then if we see any giant bubbles coming up, then we know that we have a massive air leak and we should probably take a look at something. If no bubbles come up, we probably aren't losing any air.
So that's kind of it. We're a little step closer now, moving the bike in and out. Dan's actually going to be able to move it with some relative ease rather than like
massive nosedive every time you try to move it forward.
Wrestling. It'll be interesting even to kind of feel how it is. But we ran into a little problem where the little nozzle length was a little short, so we went down to our buddy Algis down the road. Algis, if you're watching, thanks a lot, big help, sorted us out. Defeated by a pump defeated by a bicycle pump, but thank you. Luckily Algis is up and he's actually a bit of a motorcycle guy too, so thanks. So we're a little bit closer. We're gonna have to do a little bit of an episode 2 on the reg rec. Dan had ordered a reg rec and it was just the wrong type because the number of AC yellow wires coming from the stator, from the alternator, it was set for 2, but we have 3. And there's a kind of a discrepancy in some of these KZ models, whether it be a KZ twin of a certain era versus a 4 of the same era of a different era, take different reg recs. The reason why Dan's going for a reg rec is because he's putting a lithium ion battery into it. In that episode, Dan hopefully will go through a little bit more detail about that battery, because like that battery is awesome. It's actually like an RC car battery, and the thing is like turns the bike over like nothing, and it's super light. So, but obviously when you go lithium ion, you have to be careful with the reg rec that it is putting enough voltage in there or not enough voltage in there.
Yeah, not too much voltage. If you overvolt a lithium battery, you're gonna have a real bad time.
Yeah, you'll get a little bit fire under your pants in the wrong way. So we'll do a little bit of an episode on that. Dan did some work yesterday on the bike, tightening up hangers, frame hangers, tidying up some wiring on the back and stuff like that, and it's a lot better. Dan and I were laughing so hard. I don't know if any of you guys caught it on last week's video, but when we started up the bike, there was a few engine hangers and that we hadn't Loctited, and we hadn't kind of, we just kind of put them in place, getting the engine in and that, with the idea to go back and tighten everything up as a kind of a safety kind of inspection. But it was so funny because as we were rewatching the first start, one of the nuts fall off, and then we started again and another nut falls off. Dan and I are high-fiving in the background but
Bike's falling apart. Go team!
Hey. So Dan kind of spent a bit of time going through that stuff. But before we even take it on its first ride, we're going to be going back over that stuff, torquing, Loctiting stuff that we haven't and that, because it's such a crucial part. When you're doing up some brakes on your car, you don't have to be too careful. You can just tighten it up what's hand tight. But when it's a component to the bike frame or something, let's get the torque specs and let's Loctite it, because you don't want that coming apart when you're doing 120 on the highway. But that's it for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. You can support the channel by checking out getting some t-shirts at cafechronicles.ca. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and we'll see you soon.